Hi, this is going to be my submission for the admissions assessment. So I'm going to be comparing the dental school panel with the presentation by Dr. Gabriel Garcia, who was presenting on admissions. And so let's start with some similarities between the two panels. Both, of course, are very interested in academic rigor, um, and use that as a mark for acceptance into dental school or medical school. And um, what they are typically wanting to see is not necessarily the best grades in the first and second year of schooling, but they're looking for upper division credits where you have gotten excellent grades, and they want to see an upward trend. They don't want to see you starting to struggle as you take some of the more difficult courses at your school in undergrad. Sometimes, if that just doesn't work out, if you don't end up getting good grades in those upper division science courses, you can always do a post-baccalaureate program, and you can prove to the admissions committee that you are capable of getting high grades in challenging science courses and that you are ready for the curriculum that you'll be learning in medical school or dental school. Um, an interesting thing that was said by Dr. Garcia in the medical school presentation is that medical schools will look for what school you got your grades at. Um, some schools have a reputation for just handing out A's, and some schools you actually have to earn the grade you get. And I'm sure most SVU students know that earning a B in organic chemistry is actually pretty good. It shows that you are a serious student, you took the subject seriously, and you actually are one of the better organic chemistry students in the nation, because when we take the ACS, our average in the class is one standard deviation above the national average. So not every program is going to be the same. Not every program is going to be viewed similarly when it comes to grades. So that's something interesting that I learned from Dr. Garcia. Another point of similarity between dental admissions and medical admissions is going to be their approach to coherent answers in your personal statement. They want to see that you are being self-aware, that you articulate your answers and use proper grammar, and you take time and are very detail oriented, especially on the dental side. They want to see detail orientedness in your personal statement. And this is also a great place to share special qualities or circumstances that admissions committees would not be aware of. You can include stuff about your upbringing. Maybe you had some setbacks as an aspiring dentist or aspiring doctor or practitioner. And so this would be a place that you can share some of those experiences and give more of an explanation as to, maybe why schooling was a little bit difficult. Maybe give an explanation as to why you were going to community college because you couldn't afford to go to a more rigorous school. So that would be a place to explore some of those factors in your application. Another point that there is some similarity in is the approach to research. Now, they did have a positive view on research. They thought research would be beneficial to your application, but they also wanted to emphasize that research is not necessary in a way. They are looking for skills that you develop that lead to good research. They lead to honest work, and those are great skills that are useful, especially when you get into dental school or med school. But really, um, research is more of an emphasis after acceptance into dental school or med school when you're actually going to be able to participate in their research programs. And so, um, going ahead and doing research is great. However, please focus on more service, humanitarian efforts, because that's what they're actually going to be looking at. And one of the panelists on the dental panel, they were saying that service is definitely more important than research. And so research is great. It's going to help your application, but it's not, you know, something that you absolutely have to do. And I think those were the major points of similarity that were actually discussed in the panel and by Dr. Garcia, the Associate Dean of Admissions at a medical school. But let's focus more on some of the more nuanced areas that might still overlap. And these were areas that were specifically brought up by only the dental panel and only the medical school, but not the other one. And so what the dental school actually brought up was having applicants with brains and heart. Now, of course, this has to apply to medicine. Of course, they're looking for people who have the academic rigor, but also are able to communicate well with patients and be able to understand and empathize with a patient who's going through a difficult treatment. And so being able to do that is extremely important. Also, the dental panel says that just go ahead and call up your program of choice. Like if I'm applying to the University of Washington Dental School, I can go ahead and call them up, ask them, how can I bolster my application? How can I be a more competitive applicant? What steps should I be taking to increase my chances of being accepted into their program? And that's a great way to understand where you are and what you can be doing better. And this is something that wasn't discussed by Dr. Garcia, but I think this is a great factor that med students should also be looking into. Call them up, ask your med school of choice, what can I be doing to better my application? If they don't accept you, call them up and ask them, what were you looking for in my application or my interview that just didn't cut it for the med school, and what can I do to improve the next time I'll apply? As for specific issues that Dr. Garcia brought up that might apply over into the dental side of things, there's a healing emphasis and an emphasis on relationships. And this wasn't really brought up in the dental panel, but knowing from my personal experience in clinic, relationships is everything in dentistry. If you don't have a good relationship with your patients, they're just going to go to the dentist on the other side of the street because there's dentists pretty much everywhere, especially in more urban areas. But having a good relationship with your patient and being somebody that they trust is going to be absolutely important for dental, absolutely important for medicine as well. What the medical school talked about was making sure that you align the school's admission with what you're actually doing. When you're applying to a school, they're going to be looking for certain qualities. They're going to be looking for a person that aligns with their mission. You want to make sure that how you exude yourself, how you imagine yourself practicing medicine or dentistry. It wasn't talked about on the dental panel, but again, these are points that were brought up exclusively by one that can be applied to the other. Talking about mission statements, making sure that your values align with the school. And contributing to a larger community, this is something that's looked for in med schools, but it can also be applied to dental schools. Now, for maybe some of the more black sheep sort of standout qualities between dental and medicine that were brought up in the panels, I would say that leadership positions are more important in dentistry because you're more likely to be your own boss, you're more likely to be leading your own dental team, and this is going to be absolutely crucial to success as a dentist. They're looking for people who can become leaders, empower people underneath them, and respect those people at the same time, challenge those people to grow, and they want to see that you have the leadership capabilities to make that happen. They also emphasize manual dexterity. Absolutely important to being a good dentist. You need to be able to be a good craftsman and be able to put your best foot forward when working on a project. So those are obviously things that apply to dental a little bit more than medicine. Medicine's more like hierarchical. So in medicine, you've got a boss. That's basically how medicine runs over on the U.S. side of things. But being a business savvy as a dentist, that's going to be really important. You can't screw yourself over. You can't screw your team over because you're not making good business decisions. So you don't want to be going negative. You don't want to be going neutral. Hopefully not. You want to pay back your school loans, but trying to manage a business is extremely important in dentistry, especially on the West Coast where it's still more individualized and people are going to a clinic which is often run by a solo dentist or a handful of dentists, but they're all responsible for the business side of dentistry. As for some of the black sheep areas of medical applications, obviously there's going to be some overlap between these issues. It's just not clear cut in between both dental and medicine. There's going to be some overlap, but access to healthcare, especially with lots of legislation coming out, Obamacare, Affordable Health Care Act, knowing how governmental control over medicine and governmental regulation over medicine is going to affect healthcare is going to be really important. Dental might be pulled into that in the future, but this is something that medicine is currently going through, and you have to be aware of the benefits of the Affordable Care Act, and also, some of the hindrances, some of the ways in which medicine might be hindered by proceeding with this. And what I found most interesting about this is that 10% of the problems faced by healthcare and delivering good healthcare come down to access to good healthcare, which I found very interesting. It's multifaceted. Not everybody is going to get healthy just because they have access to good healthcare. Medicine is much more about finding the root causes of a problem, not just treating people, but helping avoid the need for treatment, helping avoid illness before it happens. Of course, being a physician, you want to be able to I think somebody's trying to get into the room. I sort of locked it. Sorry, I got distracted there. You want to be able to treat illness, but you also want to be preventative. Let's see here. Also, you want to be ethical. You want to be doing the right thing even when nobody else is looking in medicine. This is absolutely important. Important in dentistry as well. You don't want to be like doing nitrous after everybody's left the office. You're probably not drugs or anything like that, but But for medicine, like people's lives are on the line. In dentistry, somebody might get a filling done incorrectly. It might fall out in like 6 months. But in medicine, people's lives are on the line, and you could be held responsible for somebody's life, and making sure that you have good ethics, that you can handle lots of stress and continue to do the right thing even though it's the hard thing. That's going to be extremely important. Um, I think that's pretty much it. So that's my analysis on what goes on with these two videos, and yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching.